Hey there, friends. Welcome to another 7-minute meditation. Let's go ahead and get the timer started. And here we go. This meditation today is not necessarily anything revolutionary, and yet it exactly is. Most of us, if we're a follower of Christ, or even if we're just checking out this whole Jesus thing and Bible thing, are aware of the Great Commandments. Well, let me put it this way. The teacher or the lawyer or whoever it was that came to Jesus asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment in all the law? And so Jesus tells him, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And the second commandment is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so I see in this, and I've joked around, maybe here and elsewhere, that Jesus seems to be bad at math, because he's asking, what's the one greatest commandment? Out of 613 laws that the Jewish people had, or even out of the 10 commandments, what's the one greatest one? And we can even see that the 10 commandments are broken down this way, that some of them have to do with loving God and the others have to do with loving others. So for Jesus, we see a picture of the cross there. We see loving God and we see loving others. Do you see the cross there? Do I have one in my room? Yeah, here. I got one in the office. You've got loving God, loving others. And I've heard it said before that we can think of Jesus this way, as Jesus is God reaching out his arms to humanity, ultimately saying, I love you this much. Whereas the Christ, the Messiah, is God reaching up and worshiping God and reaching up to humanity on behalf of God. So you've got Jesus Christ, you've got God, and you've got humanity, the nature of Christ wrapped up here. So for Jesus, he could not separate these two things. That loving God is loving others, and loving others is loving God. So I found myself preaching a sermon on loving families. We're in a sermon series at my church called We Are Church, and discussing what that looks like. So in some ways, that first sermon was about loving God. What does it mean to be a devoted worshiper of God? And then that next part is about loving families, so it has everything to do with loving others. So I found myself saying something that, if taken out of context, sounds very strange for a pastor to say, which is to say that God is not a priority, or that God should not be a priority. Now, you stop there and I'm probably out of a job as a pastor. What I'm getting at is the way I've approached life, and I just was profound to me. I don't think that was me. I think the Holy Spirit nudged that little profound statement out of me. But that God is not a priority, which is to say, God is central. God is everything. If God is omnipresent, whatever, all those omnis, that means God is everything. So when I say that God is not a priority, my idea of life is to prioritize my life, is to get things organized and set up for my tasks, my to-do list, those things I need to do as a husband, as a father, as a pastor, and just as a human being, right? So if I say that God is a priority in my life, it's almost as if I'm putting God at the top of everything, and then maybe not including him in everything else. Therefore, if instead we think of God as the priority, or God as central to all priorities, maybe I could say God is at the top. God is number one. But next it should be God and family, God and church, God and my work, God and etc., etc. So you get the idea that God is not meant to be a priority, because priorities are things that we need to do as human beings to set our goals, to set our priorities. But it's our way of controlling our life. It's our way of getting things organized. It's our way of getting from point A to point B as we dream, as we plan, as we set goals. So those things are certainly important, but I cannot control God. Therefore, in a strange fashion, I would put it this way: God is not my highest priority. God is everything. God is the priority. God is everything. So therefore, we can strive to live in such a fashion that every part of our lives can touch on God and who God is and who God is called or meant to be in our lives and who we are called to be because of God and because of the sacrifice that Jesus Christ gave. And now we can live in the power and the presence of the Holy Spirit to live a life centered on God versus putting God at the top of a priority list so that therefore I can check off my God box, I can check off my family box, I can check off all my boxes and go, well, I put God in there somewhere, I put him at the top, but then completely forgot about him the rest of the day and the rest of my life. We want to be a people that strive to live with God as everything, to worship God, to not take God for granted, to just be in awe that we get to worship the creator of the universe. So I hope that's helpful to you. It's a strange thing to say, and if you do a soundbite of God is not a priority, it's going to sound really weird. But God is not a priority. God is everything. God is all of it. God is the whole ball of wax. So it's just a fun way to approach life. So thanks for joining me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I think with YouTube now you've got to ring the bell in order to get notifications. So God bless, and I'll see you next time.